the question is, will Cam Newton get another shot to start in the NFL? And I'll start with you.
I think he definitely should. I think his struggles in New England were majorly overblown because the numbers didn't jump off the paper, but the offense was just not a good situation. The weapons weren't there. You know, the defense had a lot of opt-outs, so it wasn't a good situation in general. And he still showed flashes. You know, although his numbers might not show how good he was, I don't think he was as bad as people think he was. And you know, a lot depends on the situation. Like, the reason I was saying that about the Patriots and not bringing him back is because I think the Patriots should start to move in a different direction and start to maybe, I don't know if I would say rebuild as much as I would say retool. And I think a younger quarterback would be a better fit there because I don't know how much longer Cam Newton can be as effective as he is right now because of his play style. But I think that he could be a good option for a team that's still looking for a quarterback, and there's a bunch out there. I don't know what the best fit is. Maybe a team like the Bears, they were rumored with him last season, but you know, I don't think it would be I think it would be a good decision for the Patriots if they are committed to contending this season, because I think his struggles last season were overblown.
Cam Newton 100% deserves another shot to start, and not only does he deserve a shot to start somewhere, but he deserves to be back with the Patriots in 2021, and the Patriots should bring him back, and I think that they will. I was watching Cam Newton's interview with Chad Ochocinco, Brandon Marshall, and Fred Taylor. It's their podcast called I Am Athlete. It's actually a really great podcast. I was watching the Cam Newton episode. It was a really good episode. One thing is for certain. I know where Cam Newton is from. Do you know where he's from?
Not 100% sure.
He's from Atlanta, Georgia. He was saying that the entire podcast. He said it about 8 times. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. He knows what adversity is. His stats in 2020, on the surface, they don't look great. 2,657 yards, 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a 66 completion percentage. But if you were to account for his rushing touchdowns and his rushing yards, he had over 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, and he went 7-8 as a starter. 7-8 with the most opt-outs in the NFL, with little to no offensive weapons, with no real running back threat, and with your best receiver being Jacoby Myers, Damiere Byrd, and James White. The Patriots had no offseason. Every team had no offseason. Cam Newton was signed late by the Patriots, so he had to learn an extensive playbook in a short amount of time. He signed late. He got COVID, which messed up the momentum of the team. And like I mentioned, they have minimal offensive weapons. Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene, both tight ends that the Patriots drafted in 2020, were not good. N'Keal Harry has not lived up to his first-round expectations thus far. And what impressed me the most about Cam Newton last season was his accuracy. He wasn't as inaccurate as people like to make it sound. In that offense, in the short passing scheme, he is insanely accurate. He's a really accurate short passing quarterback. That's his forte. And in the interview in the podcast, the I Am Athlete podcast with Chad, Brandon, and Fred, they all took shots at the Patriots players. Like, they talked about how they didn't have any weapons. They didn't have any real dog on the team. And you want to know what Cam Newton said the entire time? They're young. Nah. He sounded very encouraging. He never once threw his teammates under the bus. He didn't throw the team under the bus. What he said, he put it on himself. He instead of saying that, oh yeah, the weapons weren't good, he said they're young. If we had a better offseason, we would have been way better. The offseason is what held us back, not the weapons. Instead of putting the blame, instead he sounded very encouraging and uplifting, and that's the making of a leader. Because of that, I think the Patriots should bring him back, because the Patriots last season, it's funny how times change, Jack. Last season, what was the team? You were on the episode. What was the team that we both picked to make the playoffs over the Bills?
In
the
September?
Patriots. Yes,
Hey,
the Patriots.
come on.
Oh, yes. We picked the Patriots. And after 1 year, when they're not even bad, they're an average team because of so many opt-outs, because of no offensive weapons, Now you're bailing on them? Nah.
Because the Bills and Dolphins both dramatically improved.
I am not bailing on the Patriots yet. I think Bill Belichick is still an amazing coach. They have a ton of cap space, which means that they are going to sign good players in the offseason. There's still a draft. I'm almost certain they are going to bring in wide receiver talent. They're going to bring in talent. And the Patriots, I'm not so certain yet, but there's a good chance they can win the division next season. There is. I'm calling it right now. I'm not giving up on Bill Belichick and the Patriots just yet. And if Cam Newton is back, they have a chance. They have a chance if Cam is back.
I don't know. Listen, I like what you're saying about Cam. He's been a leader his whole career, and there's no questioning that. And the accuracy was great last year. I believe it was the second most accurate passing season of his career, and he was more accurate last season than Tom Brady was in his final season in New England. So, I think he's a good fit for the system, but I just think that we have them going in different directions. I don't think they can compete for the division next year. Cam Newton's 31 years old, and he's not the prototypical, pocket quarterback that can last as long as a guy like Tom Brady. So I just don't know.
He can do it.
Especially with the injury issues that he's had over the past couple of years. I'm just not sure how much longer they can get out of him. So I don't know. In a quarterback draft like this, I would consider trading up for one of those top guys while you have a chance to get him.
Injuries for Cam are overblown. What injury did he have?
He's had shoulder problems his whole career.
It was only once.
The shoulder issues have bothered him for a couple of years now.
And he got surgery on it.
Yeah, and that's a big thing to come back from as a quarterback.
Do you know if it was his throwing shoulder or not?
I don't think it was.
Okay, so if it's not his throwing shoulder, it's not that big of a deal. And there have been a lot of quarterbacks that come back from the shoulders. And as I think your leg and your base are what make you a good, accurate thrower. As long as that's fine, I'm okay. I think the shoulder thing is kind of overblown. Cam Newton in that system is insanely accurate. He's already shown it. Especially in a league where 31 is not old. In the NBA, we are saying you're out of the league already. But in the NFL at quarterback, 31, you still
he's
got.
He's not a prototypical quarterback, though, the way he plays.
I think he can be that. I think that he can play more inside the pocket. And even if he's not the prototypical quarterback, he's not the prototypical athlete. He's 6'5". He's built like a tank. If there's somebody who could take a pounding, it's Cam Newton. He's not built like Lamar Jackson, who was on the skinny side. Cam Newton can take hits. Because of that, I think
they
that
add up, though, man. They add up. I think you're underestimating it. If he can change his play style, it's a different story. And I think he has the ability to do that.
He's shown it with North Turner already.
But will he do that? I don't know that he will. I mean, we saw the way he played last year. He was still running with reckless abandon, and that's
really
awesome.
It's a lot of designs.
I don't know. I don't like the amount of
the
hits
QB
that he
powers
takes.
that he got touchdowns on were designs.
I don't like the amount of hits that he takes, the way he plays with the injury that he had to his shoulder. It concerns me. Do you think he's a long-term option for the Patriots at quarterback? I question.
What's a long-term option for you? How many years are we talking?
I mean, are you going to sign him to a multi-year deal this offseason? How long are you looking at?
I think he'll be another one-year guy, but this is the thing. He will be a one-year guy again for New England. If he has a great year this season, they will sign him to a multi-year deal. There's no way that he has a breakout year and they don't sign him for longer. If you're talking about 10 years, then no, he's not. But if you're talking for the next 3-4 seasons, yes, I think he can play at a high level for 3 to 4 more years.